Hello, here we'll be looking at rationalizing the denominator. In math, if we have something like 7 over square root of 2, we're actually not allowed to leave the square root of 2 in the bottom. It's not proper notation. So the goal here is to get rid of any radical or square root that you have inside or in the denominator. The process to do it is actually not too complicated. You just look and see whatever you have, so in this case it's the square root of 2, and you multiply the top and the bottom by that number. That's all. You identify the number, multiply top and bottom. Essentially what we're doing is multiplying by the number 1 because square root of 2 over square root of 2 is 1, and we can multiply anything we want by 1, and it stays the same. So the top becomes 7 times square root of 2, outside times outside. Well, there's nothing there, so it's a 1, and there's no inside, so it's just square root of 2. And then square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. Something important to remember is anytime you multiply square root by itself, the square root sign goes away and the number is left over. For example, the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is just 5. The square root of 12 times the square root of 12 is just 12. The square root of pi times the square root of pi would just be pi. So anytime you multiply those square roots together, just get rid of that square root. So if we have, let's say we have something like this now, 8 divided by the square root of 2. Once again, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. The top becomes 8 square root of 2, and the bottom becomes 2. Now ask yourself, does 2 go into 8? Well, yeah, 2 goes into 8 4 times, so you're left with 4 square root of 2. Do not divide the denominator into the radical up top. We can't do that, but you can divide it into the whole number if possible. So let's see, let's give you this one right here. Pause the video and try to rationalize that denominator. All right, so multiply top and bottom by square root of 3. The top becomes 12 square root of 3, and the bottom just becomes 3. Well, 3 goes into 12 4 times, so 4 square root of 3 is your final answer. Now let's say I have something like this. 6 square root of, let's say, 10 over the square root of 5. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 5 over square root of 5. Now this time I do have an inside, so 6 times 1 is 6. 10 times 5 is 50. And bottom just becomes 5. Now you might think you're done, but you actually have to look at this 50. So square root of 50, and we're going to actually break it down like we did before. So 50 could be seen as 25 times 2. 2 is prime. 25 can be broken down to 5 and 5. Those are prime. And 5 is a pair. So what's already on the outside? 6. 6 times 5, square root of 2 is what's left, all over 5. 6 times 5 is 30. And finally, ask yourself, does 5 go into 30? Yes, it does. It goes in 6 times. So 6 square root of 2 is your final answer there. Okay, I'm going to put one up here, and I want you to pause and see what you can do with this. All right, we're going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. That's how we get rid of the bottom part. So the top becomes 8 square root of 12 over 2. Well, now let's take this 12, and let's see if we can break it down. You always have to check. 6 is 2 and 3, so I do have a pair, so it can be broken down. Now there's an 8 on the outside already, so we leave it, times the pair, which is 2. Inside is a 3 over the 2, which was there before. 8 times 2 is 16. But 2 also goes into 16 8 times, so your final answer is 8 square root of 3. So make sure you're reducing the radical inside and reducing the fraction when you're done. The only other thing we covered in class was if we had, for example, 3 square root of 2 plus 5 square root of 3 minus 1 or minus, let's say, 2 square root of 2. We can only add and subtract like terms. In other words, you look to see which numbers have the same square root. So square root of 2, square root of 2. These can be combined, but we cannot combine it with the middle. So you say, okay, what's 3 minus 2? Well, it's 1. So 1 square root of 2 plus 5 square root of 3. And that's your final answer there because you cannot combine unlike square roots. And you don't add or subtract the inside. You just add or subtract the outsides. So So I'm going to put one up that I want you to give a try. See if you can do that. So pause the video real quick. All right, so we look for common roots. So we got square root of 5, square root of 5. And then we also have square root of 6, square root of 6. So I can combine the 7 and the 6, so 7 plus 6, because of the plus, 13 square root of 5. And then this is 8 minus 3, which is 5 square root of 6. And that is your final answer there. So make sure you do the homework for this so you get good practice. Thank you for watching.